Hi, it's Christina with the Sisyphean Journal. The original video I did about this young woman's death vanished from YouTube for some reason, so we're covering it again. And I had stumbled across an autopsy report for the 17th young woman I know of to have died after an abortion at that National Abortion Federation flagship chain of for-profit clinics, Family Planning Associates Medical Group. Now, of course, because I have her autopsy, I have her name, but there hasn't been any news coverage of this death, so to preserve her confidentiality, I've given her the pseudonym Kyla Ellis. And if you follow the link below to her story, you'll see that I did redact identifying information from her autopsy report. If her family decides to go public, then we can change that. So Kyla was 23 years old and about 11 weeks pregnant when she went to Family Planning Associates Medical Group at 601 Southwest Moreland Avenue in Los Angeles on May 14th, 2014. And because she was black, she was already at higher risk of being sold an abortion and then at even higher risk than a white woman of dying once she climbed on the abortion table. Interesting that nobody outside the pro-lifers seem to care about these young black women who die on the abortion table. Now, the day after her abortion, Kyla was suffering agonizing abdominal pain. Now, her partner, whom I'll call Benjamin, called an ambulance, which rushed her to Centennial Hospital. She arrived there at about 3:30 in the afternoon. She rated her pain as a 10 on a scale of pain. She had bright, fresh blood flowing from her vagina. She couldn't pass urine at all. Hospital staff used a catheter to drain her bladder of about 200 cc's of bloody urine. Now, the doctors decided that Kyla needed more intensive care than Centennial was able to provide, so they transported her by ambulance to Kaiser West in Los Angeles, where she arrived shortly after midnight on May 16th. Now, at first she was awake, but around 1:40 a.m. her gaze turned glassy and she became unresponsive. Staff took her to the lab for a CT scan, but on arrival she went into cardiorespiratory arrest and all efforts to revive her failed. She was pronounced dead at around 2:45 a.m. The autopsy found her uterus boggy and enlarged. The uterine lining had been scraped away and Kyla had bled to death. Now, clear back in 1983, the Centers for Disease Control said, quote, "Deaths from hemorrhage associated with legal induced abortion should not occur." Now, this isn't a bunch of right-to-lifers criticizing the abortion establishment. Okay? The Centers for Disease Control go beyond being merely pro-choice. They are very vocal advocates of abortion. These are people who, they did a study of abortion rates in Georgia, found that women in rural counties had much lower rates of abortion than women in urban counties, and their response wasn't to ask what are the rural counties doing right that their abortion rate is low. Their response was that they needed to educate young women in these rural counties as to the availability of safe legal abortion. In other words, their response to a low abortion rate was to say we need to get this up. We need to raise the abortion rate so it's as high rurally as it is urban, in urban areas. So these guys, they like them some abortion. And the CDC article also noted lack of adequate post-operative monitoring or treatment of hemorrhagic shock was a factor in every hemorrhage death they investigated. So Kyla had been sent home with undiagnosed bleeding. It shouldn't happen. But bleeding to death from abortions, from safe legal abortions, which shouldn't happen, does happen. It happened to Urisa Baga, Mickey Apodaca, Leanne Alford, Gloria Aponte, Jacqueline Bailey, Junette Barnes, Mirta Baptiste, Cassandra Blevins, Belinda Bird, Dorothy Brown, Teresa Causey, Patricia Chacon, Susanna Chisholm, Pamela Colson, Twyla Coulter, Liliana Cortez, Marianne Dancy, Barbara Lee Davis, Glenda Davis, Cynthia Dennard, Angelica Duarte, Evelyn Dudley, Gladys Stanislao, Linda Fodron, Kathleen Gilbert, Maria Gomez, Sherry Graham, Doris Grant, Sharon Hamplin, Luann Herron, Lucretia Jackson, Sandra Milton, Ruth Montero, Denise Montoya, Sylvia Moore, Dorothy Mozariwa, Guadalupe Negron, Mary Paredes, Shirley Payne, Mary Pena, Katrina Poole, Tanya Reeves, Magdalena Rodriguez, Carol Schauner, Margaret Smith, Jennifer Suddeth, Cheryl Tubbs, and Latachi VL that I know of. And that's an important thing to keep track of. I mean, the number of abortion supporters who go, well, that's very few women considering that. First of all, you know, they will latch on to any illegal abortion death as if it's exemplary. And second of all, there is not some death fairy that notifies me every time a woman dies from a safe legal abortion. I often find out about these years after the fact. I just stumbled across them. So the idea that these are the only women who have needlessly died after their safe legal abortion is ludicrous on its face. And to top all that off, like I said, Kyla is the 17th woman I'm aware of to have died after an abortion of Family Planning Associates. In 1970, Denise Holmes died. There's a gap, so I get the feeling there's some dead women I don't know about, because the next deaths I know about are 1984, Patricia Chacon and Mary Pena. 85, Josefina Garcia. 86, Lenise Dorsey. 88, Joyce Ortenzio and Tammy Sumatsu. 92, Deanna Bell and Susan Levy. 94, Christina Mora. 95, Tatanisha Wesson. 98, Nakia Jordan. 99, Maria Lejo. 2000, Kimberly Neal and Maria Rodriguez. And 2004, Chanel Bryant. Now, again, you look at that huge gap between 1970 and 1984. Fast Eddie Allred, who ran these clinics, was really good at hiding his dead. Mary Pena's death got uncovered just because in her home county, the clerks said women her age don't spontaneously bleed to death from natural causes. Something happened that she died from an extenuating hemorrhage. So I get the feeling Fast Eddie was slipping them through the morgue undetected. And again, we're having them nearly yearly, and suddenly they stop about 20 years ago. I don't think so. Family Planning Associates is just good at hiding their dead. And it really disturbs me that the pro-choice movement doesn't seem to care. But that's the way it is.